Okay, welcome. Let's do this. Deep breath. Healer's prayer. I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent me. I do not need to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes. Knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. The lesson for the day for me, number 62. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. And then underneath it says, I would fulfill my function that I may be happy. I would remember this because I want to be happy. So what a fucking coincidence that this is my lesson for the day. And quite often I write them down if it's something profound and I feel the need to carry it with me. Not every day that happens, but quite often. I've got several of these so far. This is really is hitting me as a big deal. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. And I remember this because I want to be happy. Well, of course, that stirs up my ego, which makes me be able to see it more. And I'm really identifying more and more as the decision maker who gets to choose. And I'm so fucking tired of this insane ego thought system that's been really so damaging. My whole life has just been, one thing after another, as egos do. So forgiveness is my function. And then I go back to this other note that I have that I've just memorized now. Forgiveness is still and quietly does nothing, merely looks and waits and judges not. So back to there's nothing to do, there's nothing to fix, nothing has gone wrong. This is a script that's playing, and I'm watching it. I'm either choosing to watch it or choosing to be it. And I'm really tired of being it. And so what a liberation it is to discover that we get to decide. I used to be a coach and I was working with clients and I would always say that they get to choose. Like I work with awareness as a superpower. Once you become aware of something, then you have a choice. You can either keep it or toss it. And it's a different word, it's a decision. I'm either deciding to listen to the ego or deciding to listen to the Holy Spirit. And that's my only function here. So as I watch this transformation artist, she's like a busy bee, scrambling here and scrambling there. And it's quite, I keep using the same words over and over again. It's a mind fuck. And that's the point, this whole course. It's unwinding the mind. What a ride. How you doing, Christine?
Well, yeah, I really had quite a lovely experience last night. In the last week, um, Andrew and I, there's been some deep joinings because he really feels like he's at a crossroads. It's like do or die kind of. This is it, like Holy Spirit is removing things that have been going on in his life for years and years are just being plucked out, right? Like what you no longer need will be removed. So it's a bit shocking at first, but something that he learned, maybe even his first experience, was when you hand something over to Spirit, it gets retranslated and given back to you. It's not sacrifice. You get it back and you get to walk through it with your hand being held by something who knows, someone who knows, right? And but it very much feels like a crossroads, and something for him that really works really well to drop the mind and everything that's going on in it is to leave, to go somewhere warm. And very much so, the course says you don't actually have to go anywhere or do anything, but it can be helpful if you need a little, like, then do it. If it's like what I've heard too often referred to in the community as magic, like Advil or Tylenol or something. If something is getting in the way of communicating with Jesus, like a toothache or a headache or something, take the magic. Take the magic, you know? And so he put forward this idea of going somewhere, and I um I paused, and we joined, and there was some expressing, and uh, I I feel all in. Like I just feel all in, and Mexico was transformative for me. I mean, when I went to Mexico, I'd never been anywhere outside of Canada in the winter. I'd never experienced a warm winter. And you're Canadian, right? Like I'm from Ontario, so Ontario humidity and winters, and then Edmonton winters. It's fucking cold here. Like it gets cold, and um it was shocking. The experience on so many levels was shocking, including weather. It just everything just opened up for me in terms of okay, now you're surrounded by the mighty companions that you need to go to your mind over here and go to your mind over here and go look over here and look over here. And so last night I just have been going through this process of leaning into what the steps might look like for Andrew and I. And we had a joining with Jason, who is his brother, who I've known for like 18 years. And I will go to him when I feel particularly stuck or in whatever way that looks. And um, there's a feeling of and demonstration for me of safety. So definitely I will lean in that direction if I'm feeling uncertain about something. And there are some really beautiful, like, when you feel a prompt and then, you join with somebody who's committed to a deeper awakening experience, and then they reflect what's going on in the prompt without even knowing about it, and that's what happened during the call. It just seemed like, yeah, just go for it, just, and last night I just felt this experience. Words can be hard, with these experiences. Words, like David says, words are symbols of symbols twice removed. Like, words are very limiting. But I had this experience of just almost like what the next steps will feel like. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it beyond that, but I know that something spirit will do for me to help me with anxiety when I'm fearful of trusting, right? That kind of anxiety is give me little glimpses to show me, okay, this is what's coming. Just this is just for your peace of mind, so you can take the step. Just here you go. Here's this little bit. Here's this little bit, and this little bit, if it's necessary, if it's needed. And like I think the world would probably use the word psychic. Like, I get that kind of stuff all the time, but it's only for my own peace of mind, to alleviate fear so I can keep going. That's all. That's how I see it. That's all it's for. That's its purpose. And so I think Andrew and I are going to be going to Mexico, and I don't really know where, and I don't really know for how long. And I think part of the practice is not to interpret this experience I had last night. It's been happening all day, actually. It's so peaceful. Like, it just trust this. Like, it's so peaceful. And um, it's like part of me was also being shown in the past how I would receive guidance and then interpret it, which is not helpful. you know and so many times I've gotten guidance, and it was just about hearing the guidance. It wasn't about the follow through or what the outcome would look like. It was just what hearing it provided. And so I don't actually know if I'm going to go anywhere, but I notice it doesn't matter, because the experience is already coming in. Like, it's already unfolding, it's already happening. And um yeah. Sometimes just willingness to say yes to something often means it doesn't actually need to unfold. I've had that quite often. Like, resistance to saying yes to something, and it can be ridiculous things, like things that are seemingly don't matter. Like, yeah, go with so and so to this store. I've actually had that happen in Mexico. Go with so and so to this store. Just, I know you don't want to, but just say yes and get in the truck. And then I say, oh, okay. I say yes, I get in the truck. 5 minutes later, they get a call. Oh, we don't actually have to go now. And then we all start laughing, because it's really just about, am I willing to say yes? Because I'm not saying yes to getting in the truck and going to a store. I'm actually saying yes to awakening. I'm saying yes to Christ. I'm saying yes to the willingness to listen to what I need for my healing, for my awakening. Yeah. Like, can I get out of my way? Yeah, and usually that's fear or the I know mind that's in the way. So, yeah. Andrew shows up so beautifully. Like he's saying stuff like, the stuff that you're struggling with right now, like the judging the judgment, and being so harsh with wanting to be done with this judgment, or this preference, or the way this that I want the world right now to look different, like my own world, you know um He's like, all those things, they're just gonna disappear. They're just gonna be gone. And I know that he's right. I do. I know that he's right. Um, and and it's like he's one of those kinds of he has one of those experiences that involves a lot of like empath kind of stuff. Like and um what's it called when you astral projection, like he when he's sleeping, he just travels when he's sleeping. Like he's been provided all of these otherworldly type of experiences, and it's I feel like it helps to remember that the world that I think of as real is not real. It can't be real as we're so used to defining it. If stuff like astral projection is happening, the rules can't be right. The rules of physics, the rules of gravity, the rules of whatever, you know, they can't be right. They can't be. Yeah, I'd have to say it's been a gentle day today. It's like I've just been resting and walking through, not tasting, being able to taste food. And um, because food is, I mean, I use food as a comfort and a distraction. And it's so many things. Food is so many things. And when I can't taste it, it becomes a totally different experience. I can't go to the same place. I can't use it for distraction if I can't taste it. I can't, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it becomes null and void in terms of a familiar place to go. So I've just been walking through that and getting these really consistent reminders of that experience that seems to be unfolding right now, even though it seems to be about what's coming. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I get caught up in trying to get spirituality right. I want to get it right. I want to do it right. I want to wake up right. I want to look at my shit right. And it's awful. It's awful. Maybe
I
it's
used
equivalent
to.
to the fixer that you talk about, the fixer, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Tao teachings that I was involved with was very much you're not doing enough. The underlying message was it's not enough, you're not enough. Do more, do more, do more. And one of the things I love about A Course in Miracles is just like literally seeing through the illusion of that needing to do more, needing to do more, needing to do more. And that ties into my fixer parts where I just want to fix everything. I can see that. And then I go back to it's not my job to fix the fixer. And that's a real fucking conundrum. It's not my job to fix the fixer. I just watch. I I want to go to Mexico as well. I was so elated to find out that there's a thing called Namaste in Mexico. When I first learned about it, Calico came into my world a couple of months ago. She was invited as a guest speaker in another Zoom call that I've been a member of for quite a while. And and so it all just kind of happened so quickly. And I had just previously been getting these inclinations that I'm going to spend a couple of weeks in Mexico this winter. I don't experience the same kind of hellish winters that you do, but it's fucking cold. We can't dress for it here. It's so damp and wet that it just like it. Anyway, um, I hear you on the Mexico thing. I so, the warmth is a big part of it, but I'm really being called into community. Um, I know it's not, I know that there's parts of me that would want to go into community because I think that they're going to welcome me and comfort me, and it will be like the family that I never had. The reality is that it's probably going to smack me upside the head in a whole bunch of different ways that I really need. So I've really been um, pondering this going. I thought that Namaste was David's community. I was quite shocked to find out that, so that now there's two. There's two
If you
separate.
want to know about, I don't know what you know about either of
I,
them,
I
but
know
I've been
nothing.
with both of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, I,
Yeah. Um, well, it's my understanding that I can go and stay for a couple of weeks, almost like an all-inclusive hotel. Like your food is included, and it's a communal sort of living situation. I know nothing. I think I went to a website once. I'm a member of the Namaste Facebook group. I know nothing.
yeah, my experience was really interesting. I was with Living Miracles in Utah. And then they were telling me they were really feeling me in Mexico. And I, like, okay, okay. I didn't like that. I didn't want to go to Mexico. Um, but you know how guidance unfolds, like it gets presented, you get to freak out, and then you get to lean in, and you're surrounded by mighty companions. So you can lean in. And so I came back to Edmonton and I dropped all my winter stuff and I packed all my summer stuff. And I flew to Guadalajara, really thinking and believing I was going to be with Living Miracles. But Spirit had something else in mind for me. Now, the plan was to stay at Jai's. He has a really nice, um, uh, at the time, it was like a motel, right? He hadn't had it for very long. And Jimmy's hadn't, Namaste wasn't even Namaste yet. It was just a community that was getting going. And so I get there and I stay at Jai's for a little bit. And then I make a move closer to Living Miracles. And Andrew was there, so that felt safe. So, oh God, it was so funny. It's so funny, Jody, because I kept getting this feeling that when Andrew left, I wasn't going to be staying. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? And then Andrew left, but a week later, and then, oh my God, Jody, the cockroaches started showing up as mighty companions to get me out of the house. Like the cockroaches, uh, they pushed me out of the house where I was living. And I remember calling up Franco. He was a new mighty companion. He's the guy that picked me up at the airport initially, right? The week before. And so I call him and I like, you have to come and get me. Like you have to come and save me, and you have to bring me back to Jai's. You have to. And he's like, okay, okay. So he shows up. My new mighty companion shows up, and um, God damn the cockroaches! It was brilliant. It wasn't at the time, right? It was overwhelming at the time. But I needed the cockroaches to show up to get me out of the house because I was so attached to what I thought it was going to look like, because Spirit was guiding me towards Jimmy's. And I was trying to go towards Living Miracles, because if I'm not with Living Miracles, I'm not doing my spiritual journey correct. That was the belief that was starting to get exposed, right? And so I go back to Jai's and I just feel this relief. Like I feel so relieved. And then God, so much happened. And then I started going. Jai's is like 2 blocks away from Jimmy's. So I started going over to Jimmy's every morning for their gathering. And it was a small gathering back then. It was like 9, 10, 12, maybe 15 people. It was small, right? And it was just the one property. And now it's three, right? And I remember spirit, like I remember being like, "Oh my God, what am I doing here? I'm supposed to be at Living Miracles. What am I doing here?" And I heard, "No, you can hear me now. That's not where you have to be. You can hear me now. So just you're staying here. You're staying here." And then a room opened up and I moved in, and then my permanent room showed up and I moved in. And when I went to Mexico, I bought a one-way ticket. I sold my stuff. My dad took my car. I gave stuff away. I sold stuff. The apartment went. Like I was leaving, like that's how it unfolded for me. And um when I got there, I had a one-way ticket. I had canceled my phone. There was a serious commitment that was unfolding, you know, and it took me until I got into my permanent room. Like that was probably about 6 weeks. It took me that long to really embrace, okay, this is where I'm staying. And when I paid Jimmy for my room, I was like, Jimmy, I am fucking here. Like, and I paid for like 6 months. I was like, it was such a symbol. All the things throwing up, like the symbol of commitment, like stay here, embrace this, be here, da da da. And I really got to, it's just beautiful. It was just beautiful and so gentle. It's so gentle. Like I don't know what the differences between them are right now because it's been a couple years since I've been with either one, But for me, just for me, with Living Miracles, it was like when I needed a lot of help to hear guidance, they were perfect. When I needed a lot of help learning to express, they were perfect. When I needed a lot of help learning what having the space held is really like, they were perfect. When I needed to learn how to hold the space, perfect. You know, like I could not get away with anything being with Living Miracles. Now, being with Jimmy's, being at Jimmy's, being at Namaste, I got to practice all those things vigilantly for myself without all the mighty companions doing it for me. I got to really practice it, you know, really, really practice. And we would have this beautiful gathering every morning, and people are in different places in their own mind, and it was just so gentle. It was so lovely to have such a beautiful experience lifting me up, like holding me up. And I do feel the same about Living Miracles. They held me up every time. Like whatever it is I seem to need, those are the places I go. And it shifts. Is it helpful to hear from David? Is it helpful to hear from Jason? Is it helpful to hear from Jimmy? Like what? You know? They're like there's a demonstration of commitment. And if that's what you want, yeah. Jimmy's very committed. David's very committed, you know. I don't think you can go wrong any direction if you reach out and ask some questions and talk to some people. But for me, I had to let go. I remember somebody said to me, it was like, It was like living miracles. How did they say that? It was so great. It was like a pregnancy analogy. It was like it's like living miracles impregnated you and got you through your pregnancy, and then at namaste I was birthed. Like it was like I went through the birthing process. Mhm. I don't think there's one that's easier than the other, but it just depends on what you need, what's best for whatever you need right now. Hmm.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know what that is. So thank goodness for guidance. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing a joining would clear it up pretty quick. That's usually how it works for me. Joinings, if I'm uncertain, joinings provide clarity pretty damn fast.
So how do you book a trip to Mexico?
What do you mean?
Well, it's not going to be obviously not going to be a sell everything you own and
Mm.
book a one-way trip. Would it be like just booking a vacation, like a 2 week stay somewhere or 1 week stay? How
I
would
think in
you?
this scenario, for me, like this time around, I think Andrew, I think it's going to be for a few months. I think it is going to be for a few months, and um, that's my feeling. And I won't be surprised if we move around a little bit, like start off somewhere and end up at Jimmy's or next to Jimmy's or um, closer to Living Miracles. Like I won't be surprised if we move around and end up somewhere in Ahihik.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have, of course, the circumstances seem to be quite perfect for just being able to go I because I got rid of all most of my stuff before. I haven't accumulated that much since. I mean, I have a bed now, but everything that I have is fine where it is, and I it's just very flexible being able to come and go. So it's funny though. At the same time, I won't actually be surprised if I don't go anywhere because there's
well,
so much happening.
it's all just a mental exercise anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's like there's so much happening. Just leaning towards the joinings and what's coming out of them. So I don't actually know what's gonna happen or what it's gonna look like. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
the
maybe
next couple of weeks will it'll things will clear up in the next couple of weeks.
absolutely.
Hmm. There are some videos of Jimmy's. If you, I don't know, if you look up um, Namaste Lake Chapala,
Like on YouTube?
you might find a video or two. Just a little informational kind of video, and you can see the property. When I first got there, he had the one property, and it had a house, two casitas, and like sort of an apartment, a two-story apartment building with 8 units in it. And then he bought the property next door and started building the tiny homes. And then after I left, he bought the property that was behind the first property and built more back there. So it's just kept expanding. It's like the love just kept spilling over into the properties next door. It's really pretty. Not that it matters, like I find that if I'm following and listening, then it the experience of following and listening is beautiful. So the the outside world just doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, I'm really starting to get that more and more, that this is a dream. This is all just a dream. Not that it's not really happening, but it is just a dream. I'm still enjoying that peace in my mind at looking at the devastation. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I'm sensing 3 weeks. That was the original message I got. 3 weeks in Mexico this year, and then I learned about Namaste, and I thought it was David's place. So there's two, and that's all I know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know. Like I just keep surrendering more into this process. I have training for this. I'm a trained soul communicator, so I have um, a lot of experience with channeling. So I'm very comfortable with guidance. I'm very comfortable with getting out of the way and asking for help and being guided. So it's really, it's all just going to unfold as it needs to. It's already happened. That's the crazy thing. There's nothing to do here. I can't, like, I want to plan things. Let's get all involved and plan things. It's not about that. It's about just saying yes. Like you said, willing to get into the truck. It's not about going to the store. It's not about needing to go anywhere. Just are you willing to get into the truck? Yeah. Again, I love the healer's prayer and this other prayer where I just I get out of the way. Holy Spirit, show me the way. Show me the way. And that of course is terrifying to the ego. But again, like I'm not the ego. I really feel the peace in that. I can see I see like a little Tasmanian devil doing this little whirlwind of like, yes, buts. What about this? What about that? Yeah, the planner, fixer. So would you work remotely? Like how do you finance this whole thing, Christine?
Well, when I went before, I had money. I had money saved up, and Mexico's super cheap, right? So, and then, of course, I mean, I was gone for like almost 2 years, um, and of course, the timing, right? Like, it's just so perfect, right? Like, as the money was running out, that's when the guidance started coming in for me to leave Mexico. And it was funny because I did not want to leave, Jody. I did not want to fucking leave. And I went to some people, and Jimmy was one of them, and I was like, "What do you think? I think I'm getting this guidance." And he's like, "Yeah, you are getting this guidance." And I was like, "Shit, shit, shit." And I was really resistant. I was listening, but I was fucking resistant to it, you know? And then I got this really weird email from President's Choice Financial. Of all, ways to get a message from Holy Spirit, it was like, it was so bizarre. It was like, in the subject line, it was like, Christine, it's time to book your ticket to Edmonton from President's Choice. And I was like, when Spirit is talking to you, it feels very different than just looking at a subject line in an email. You know what I mean? Like when it's clear communication. So, so of course, it was perfect timing. The money was running out, and the guidance was to come back and live with Marie and Andrew. And Marie was with Living Miracles, and then she left because her and Andrew had an assignment together, and I was part of it. And there were lots of symbols pointing me towards them, not just leaving Mexico, but towards them. And and it was great because the day Marie picked me up at the airport, she told me later that she almost left. Like she almost left Edmonton because she felt like she was picking up Christ. Like she was going to the airport to pick up Christ, and it was like, well, when Spirit has a bunch of healing in mind, you freak out, right? But yeah, and then um yeah, I stayed with them, and I didn't really need money when I was staying with them. The function was just different. It was a different dynamic and a different healing and thing playing out. So, um, and then now I'm living with a friend, and she's totally fine with me really focusing on the course and the lessons and healing, and just really focusing on that. And it's been really great because really what's been unfolding for me, and I was just saying this to Andrew, of course, this morning, it was like, at this point in time, and it's been going on for months now, I feel like I don't even know how to navigate in the world right now. Like walking around it, like the way, like it's like I can see the matrix a lot, and it's it's like sort of like vertigo, but not. And I just I have a hard time to walk around the world, and I feel like I don't know how to have a job right now, or I don't know. I don't know how to do that right now. And every time I think about focusing, like putting my mind on a job instead of on healing or the course or something, it just feels like why would I focus on something else when everything is showing up for me to focus on this? And I've had to really embrace that because there's a lot of guilt and shame coming up over not having a job, and having people support me. There's a lot of shame and guilt about it, so I've had to really look at that kind of stuff. And when Andrew brought this thing to me about going to Mexico, and he's like, well, of course I'll pay, like it's not going to cost hardly anything. Like he's just he doesn't care at all. He doesn't care at all. I'm the one that cares. I'm the one that's triggered, you know. And I would love to do something to be bringing money in, but I've prayed so much about it, like, Holy Spirit, if I'm going to be doing something, make it obvious, make it obvious, make it obvious, and nothing happens. Like, nothing happens. I just keep getting the same message in different ways over and over again. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. So I'm just been really looking at the shame and guilt coming up about, like, living in the world but not being, I feel adjacent. I'm not following the rules, you know? So it's triggering. So we'll see how that goes. And I guess when spirit is saying, just keep going, keep going, keep going, you just keep going, you know?
Yeah. Keep getting the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, if I tried to, oh my God. Like my last job was with, I was there for 12 years, and wow, what a healing experience. And, wow, I worked with kids, and it was a program started by homeschooling parents. They wanted something different than a regular school. And so we did operate differently. It was so active, and so much activity, so much energy, so much go, 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 go. And I guess it makes sense, like I go, 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 go for 12 years, physically and mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like it was go, 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 go. And then since then, like I went from that to resting. Like I had to get vertigo, like full on 100% vertigo for me to be able to leave that job. The one that was no back door, I told that story. Yeah, to leave that. I also had vertigo during all that because I wanted to. The end of the school year came, and then the summer came, and then fall came, and I had to walk through all that. And I knew that when September rolled around, I knew it would be a different layer coming up to heal because normally I'd be going back to school. After a pattern of 12 years not doing it, I knew it would be jarring, right? So spirit had me stay very still. And in order for me to stay very still, I had to have vertigo. Otherwise, I don't think I would have stayed still, you know? And I had such a great reflection because, oh my God, one of my best friends, Darcy, we both had our jobs for just about the same amount of time. I had mine for 12, he had his for 13. He worked somewhere else. But both of our jobs ended on the same day. The same day. And so we both came home from work. Like I came home, he came over because he worked really close to my house. So he came over and we were like, well, I guess that's it. Like, and then he was packing up and getting ready to move. And I knew that I would be doing that too. But I had to be very still. Every single time I wanted to start sorting through my stuff, figuring out what to give away, dropping in, what do I keep, what goes, what gets sold. Spirit was like, no. And would slam me with vertigo. No, no, no. And so I watched Darcy clean up his apartment, and then he left. At the end of the summer, he left. And then I had to walk through my experience, and then I left at the end of November. But it was really like a drawn out, no, you're going to be still for a while. You're going to rest for a while. And ever since then, it's been like really quite restful, you know? Like the stuff, how it had to look for me, I see why I was at Jimmy's. Because the stuff I was asked to do and how it needed to look for the healing wouldn't have worked at Living Miracles. Just at the time, the way they structured their days and how things flowed there, it wasn't what I needed for the healing that was going to happen. I didn't know that at the time, but yeah.
How long have you been in Edmonton this time around?
Mm. Well, I moved here in my early 20s, but I went back to Ontario for a few years in my late 20s. I had healing to do, and it had to be in Ontario. And then I've been back here since I was 30, except for going to the States and Mexico. You know, I've been here.
What else?
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it tonight. You?
Rest in God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, you too. See you on Saturday.
Let's see more. Good night.
Night.
This won't stop.